Well, thank you for any shalom. Greetings to you all. Now, I hope you all had a great Festival of Love Day. I got to enjoy the lunar eclipse. I love eclipses. They tell you so much about what's going on energetically. Energy is going on all around you all the time. It is never destroyed, simply transformed. And it transforms you. It affects you all the time. It talks to you. All you have to do is listen. Now, as I said last week, the lunar eclipse was during the full moon, and the full moon is the moon phase of love and romance. And after all, we did have it on the Festival of Love Day. So I hope you all had fantastic messages of love your way. Now, in addition, the full moon during an eclipse rises at sunset, is visible all night, and sets as the sun rises. Now, it's the only time during the month that this actually occurs. This particular eclipse was a partial eclipse. There's different types. There's partial, there's full. And you may have noticed in the past that the moon appears to be red during an eclipse. And it's really cool during a full eclipse because you have this great big red ball in the sky. But do not worry if you missed it. It was not actually visible in North America. But its energy still took place and affected everybody. Now, you can still reflect on any of the changes that you might have felt. And it is when we reflect, when we think, meditate, contemplate. That's a time to come together. Share spirit, energy, to give the fellowship of love. So as friends, as a chabura, a fellowship, let's all join together to express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts and feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all as we come together every week in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know physically, psychically, emotionally, or spiritually to gather and share. From Psalm 133, Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov, Benai, Shevetahim Gam, Yachad. Hine Matov, Benai, Shevetahim Gam, Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. And all together as a community, friends, let's spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the entire world. Doesn't hurt. So, it's important to remember we are a community. All of mankind is actually a community. And remember, any time that there is angst in our lives, sadness, confusion, illness, frustration, whatever, community always comes together. And those are the times to bring renewal and goodwill and love and healing to the world, and to rely upon the good energy of all the people that we know. And it's the people who have encountered difficulty and sadness don't always reach out, but we can always get together and send healing, love, and goodwill to all in need of renewal, to those in need, to you, to everybody, because we all need. For our good friend Lindsay's father James, for Helga, for Nicholas, for Paul, for our great friend Bob, who is doing so well, for Rosemary, and especially for Sherry's surgery, and of course for you, for your spirits, for all in need of elevation, of healing, of renewal, the kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love you all send out circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, and continue to send as much renewal and love out to the world as you possibly can. Me, Shabara, Avotenu, Makor HaBracha, Limotenu, may the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. And Misha Barak, let us all have our spirits renewed. We need to send out positive energy as much as we possibly can. Now, friends, this week we have ekev. Now, we first came across this word, ekev, back in Genesis. It means on the heel of, and was the story of Jacob, Yaakov, born on the heel of Esau. And we saw the term come back in various meanings throughout the Torah so far. But here, ekev means on account of or because the world is round, it turns me on. Because the world is round. Now, although of late I understand there are now plenty of flat world believers, you see, everything old becomes new again. Now remember, all of these parshas now are kind of recaps. So this is a recap parsha. Now remember, in the retelling of the law, and that's what we're in, the retelling of the law, most things you read are recaps of what you saw earlier in certain ways, and because there's no difference. But please notice that what has become a very famous saying shows up here, and a lot of famous things comes from Deuteronomy. In Deuteronomy 8:4 we have, not on bread alone does the human live, or as we like to say, man does not live by bread alone. Because we get recaps of the fact that man was given all kinds of things. Now, some of the great recaps in this parsha are the second tablets, the golden calf story, even the building of the ark, all of which were played out in earlier sections. But here, we get information that we did not have before. Now, we find out Moses survived not just once, but at least twice, 40 days, with no food or water during his recap of all he did for the people, and all the times he interceded on their behalf. Hey, now that was quite the miracle, and we did not know that before. Perhaps it was a lesson that when in the presence of God, we live by the energy of God, and so man does not live by bread alone. We need the love and energy. And in all of his recap, you might even notice significant differences from what you read, and maybe from what you were even taught. And you might not be sure which version is the correct one, if one were correct. Instead, understand that the text in Deuteronomy and the text in Exodus were written by two completely different authors, many, many, many years apart. And that's okay. There are going to be differences. We even learn a new reason for the need for the 40-year sojourn, again told in a slightly different way. So again, the question always comes up is, we're not to add, not to subtract. Is this adding or not? Well, that's been an age-old debate. Deuteronomy 8:2, and you shall remember all the way that the Lord your God had you go these 40 years in the wilderness in order to degrade you, to test you, to know what was in your heart. God wanted to test and degrade the people. The same thing the Egyptians did to the people during the 400 years of slavery. Now meditate on the terms: to degrade you, to test you, to know. This sequence of verbs is extremely powerful because of the ways that they were used before. This word degrade, it's used to describe what the Egyptians did to the Israelites as slaves, but it's also used for what Shechem did to Dinah, and for what the people of Israel are supposed to do to themselves on Yom Kippur. It means to bring down, to humble, to lower someone. And the second word here, test. It's a very another powerful word. It is the word for what God does in commanding Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. And the result of that test is that God says, now I know that you fear God. And so that brings us now to the third word here, to know, conveying that the purpose of a divine test is still to establish what is in a human's heart. This reminds us of God's assessment of man in Genesis 6, when he decided man had evil in his heart. And we have spent these many millennia trying to prove it wrong. Now, Moses now tells the people the reason for many of the tribulations that they experienced for 40 years was to test them. We didn't know that before. Now, once again, this book, this Reader's Digest repetition of law, provides actual real liturgy. Now, we had the Shema last week, or 2 weeks ago, and still done to this day, the dinner blessings. The Birkat HaMazon, otherwise known as benching, which like daven is a Yiddish word for pray, but more precisely described as grace after the meal. And it is exciting to see real liturgy from a book that's thousands of years old. Right? There's very little real liturgy in the Torah, so it's always exciting when we come across it. Deuteronomy 8:10, and you'll eat and be full and bless the Lord your God for the good land that he has given you. Now, three incredible little things, all connected. Eat, be full, and bless. Sovereign God of the universe, we praise you. Your goodness sustains the world. You are the God of grace, love, and compassion, the source of bread for all who live. For your love is everlasting, and your great goodness we need never lack for food. You provide food enough for all. We praise you, O God, source of food for all who live. Now, friends, learning to give thanks is such an important part of our humanity. And what better time than after our sustenance, when we are satiated? What a great opportunity to thank God for goodness, for grace, for love, for compassion, for all that keeps us alive and allows us to be anything we choose, desire, dream. Now, status as a treasured people depends on action. Faithfulness to the covenant, we are told. Now, Israel, like anyone else, is not intrinsically better than anyone. What's special about Israel, or anyone else who follows the relationship, is that it has been given an opportunity to follow a path that will ultimately bring blessing to all the families of the earth. It's about bringing blessings. And we bring blessing being thankful and grateful, not angry, not bitter, not jealous, being appreciative, sharing, caring, loving, and knowing we are part of a much greater whole. Now, I think one of the greatest songs of Thanksgiving was the one inspired by William Blake's Auguries of Innocence, about the endless meaning in the smallest of things. You know, if we only stop and take a look. I have gone from rags to riches in the sorrow of the night, in the violence of a summer's dream, in the chill of a wintry night, in the bitter dance of loneliness, fading into space, in the broken mirror of innocence on each forgotten face. I hear the ancient footsteps like the motion of the sea. Sometimes I turn, there's someone there. Other times it's only me. I am hanging in the balance of the reality of man, like every sparrow falling, like every grain of sand. Every little grain of sand contains everything. It's a great poem. So how do we get to feel this great sense of oneness, of love, of thanks? Well, this same Parsha gives another clue. Deuteronomy 10:16. So you shall circumcise the foreskin of your heart. A circumcision of the heart. What a concept that was. The spiritual opening for male and female alike, and whatever other genders these days there happens to be. Now, this concept occurs in two books of the Torah, twice in Deuteronomy, and once we saw it earlier in Leviticus. Now remember, very little of what is in Deuteronomy has not appeared somewhere else in the Torah in one form or another. It also appears in two of the books of the prophets, in Jeremiah and Ezekiel. Now, the sign of the Abrahamic covenant, and probably the most commonly observed of the commandments by Jewish families for centuries, is circumcision. But the Torah commands the circumcision of one's heart as well. It establishes that simply the outward fulfillment of practices without also feeling it in one's heart is insufficient. Don't just do and not have it be a part of you. And when you feel something in your heart, my friends, you are in effect changed, I think, forever. Something has changed within me. Something's not the same. I'm I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. You know what, friends? Open your hearts, and you too will defy gravity. Yes, the world is sacred, so is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those that you love. And love everybody. Share your feelings with them. Live free. Be free. Honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. And share and honor the light. And all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. An end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community of man. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And we all do need it. And please do learn to forgive, learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy your journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives and our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe. Remember, we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. Our intention, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven because you do have that knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any other person you've wronged, and ask forgiveness. And do so with sincerity, with accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be a forgiving and compassionate individual. Now, do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always there in front of you. And remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and all of you. Now act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish everybody. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all peoples know peace in this year, and may you nurture kindness and love everywhere you go. Work to be present, my friends, in the body. Expand your heart, quiet the mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness, in mindfulness, in your ability to be present, to be aware in all circumstances. And make the most of your time in this life. Recognize your ability to be a contagion of holiness, to touch and transform the lives of everybody around you. You are forever blessed, and you have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you want, to everybody you meet. You can bring health, love, and renewal to everybody that you come across. We're all energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Your words are your power to transform, to love, to be. All I want is you. Everything has got to be just like you want it to. Because. A word we usually use when we cannot explain why. It's not that we do not know. It's that we do not have the words. Learn the words. Be thankful, be forgiving, be loving. Now start practicing forgiveness now, my friends. It's the mechanism that brings peace and happiness and makes you one with the energy of all there is. And there will always be someone by your side. I will always be there. Enjoy life, spread the blessings you've been given, embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Great lesson of life. Now be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. Be happy, be healthy, be helpful, be kind, and be loving, and have an awesome week. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.